Welcome back, students. Master Spleen in the building. So you all know I'm in holidays right now, but when I heard that the Eevee was going to be featured as the community day, the next community day, I had to step in and make you a video about that. So I'm going to look down with the help of Talonflo of this upcoming community day. So just down here you will find first of all an infographic of all the available evolutions as of now in the game with the latest edition of Sylveon. This community day is going to take place for 2 days, just like 2 years ago when Eevee was first featured in a community day. So on the 14th and on the 15th of August you will have this community day. It's going to be from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. your local time, just as of usual. 3 hour lures, 3 hours incense. This time the bonus is going to be 4-time reduction for hatch distance. It could be a great way if you want to stack 12 kilometer X for the Stardust, or if you just don't want to walk 12 kilometers to hatch them. So just down here, first infographic about the different bonuses that you are going to have. Just first thing I would like to highlight is that this event actually is going to start 1 day before, and this is going to end 1 day after. So what do I mean about that is that you will be able to already evolve your Eevees on the 13th of August from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m. and on the 16th of August. So take advantage of that if you want to already prepare yourself, if you already have like some great Eevees, PvP IV Eevees that you stacked for a while. That could be a great opportunity to, when the community day happens, to really focus only on catching and on the Stardust and on the bonuses. Two other things that I think are worth noting. First of all, a time research is going to be available in order to provide you with a glacial lure and a mossy lure that you need if you want to evolve the Leafeon and the Glaceon. And you will have a great community day box, because this time around you will have both charge and the fast elite TM. So usually we only have one, so this time around you have two, so that's pretty nice. When it comes to optimal PvP IVs, and before I leave the floor to Talonflo for analysis of the moves, you will find just here, I'm going to go shortly over it, but you will find the optimal PvP IVs for every evolution. So just click on pause if you want to take some screenshot about the best PvP IVs for Vaporeon, for Jolteon, for Flareon, for Espeon, for Umbreon, for Leafeon, for Glaceon, and for Sylveon. The floor is yours, Talonflo, so that you can a bit analyze if those movesets are going to worth it when it comes to PvP.
Oh my Arceus, Niantic really wants to push us to our limits. Let's start by going over the individual movesets. Vaporeon has a very generic water type movesets. It's usually played with Water Gun, Aqua Tail and Last Resort to have at least some sort of coverage. The new move, Scald, is utter trash, and the move is completely outclassed by Aqua Tail.
Skull!
Jolteon has a generic electric type moveset with Volt Switch, Discharge and Last Resort. The new move takes up too much energy and it's not worth considering. I know someone whose favorite Pokemon this is, and I'm sorry to disappoint you, but Jolteon is outclassed by other electric type Pokemon in every way, in every league. So we will ignore it for the rest of the video. The same goes for Flareon. It has horrible stats in every league. Superpower is the first new move which is actually good. and it does help Flareon, but it takes more than that to make Flareon a viable Pokemon. Now to Espeon. Horrible stats in every league. Shadow Ball is a nice addition and it helps Espeon, but it takes more than that to make it a viable Pokemon. Wait, I have a déjà vu. Now to the good shit. Umbreon. Umbreon is an amazing Pokemon in both the Great League and Ultra League. Thanks to amazing stats in both leagues, combined with the high energy gaining move Snarl and the charge moves Foul Play and Last Resort. Psychic is super effective against poison types as well as fighting types, and the fighters are usually a great counter against Umbreon, so having a Uno reverse card is very helpful. Psychic looks appealing, but if you remove Last Resort, then Umbreon is completely walled by other dark types, including itself. The idea to remove Foul Play instead is worth considering. Then you'll play a double legacy moveset, Snarl, Last Resort and Psychic. You're not walled by other dark types and you can turn the tables against fighters, but this moveset is walled by Sableye and Steel types. So we have 3 movesets with pros and cons. The best moveset is up for debate. Personally, I think the traditional moveset with Snarl, Foul Play and Last Resort is the best, because Last Resort is usually enough to force shields against fighters, because most fighters are very squishy. Soon Sergio will go over the individual matchups, but first let's wrap up the movesets. Leafeon. Bullet Seed and Leaf Blade plus Last Resort looks good, but there are similar and better grass types out there like Bellossom. Glaceon. The new Water Pulse is even worse than Scald. The rest of the moveset is decent but nothing special, and stat-wise there are always better ice types in every league. Sylveon. Until now it was a very generic Charmer which was outclassed by other Charmers. Psyshock won't change that, but it's a useful addition because Sylveon now can pressure poison types. Unfortunately, Alolan Ninetales has Psyshock as well, and Alolan Ninetales will outclass Sylveon in both the Great and Ultra League, and Sylveon will still be outclassed in the Master League by Togekiss, but there is a chance. Whew, that was a lot. For the rest of the video we should ignore most of these Pokemon, because otherwise the video would be too long. I'll be back soon to cover some Silph histories. In the meantime, Sergio will cover some matchups.
Thanks for the analysis, Talonflo. I'm going now to focus on open metas, on the Great League, on the Ultra League, on the Master League, and for me there are only 2 Eevee evolutions that are really worth it. First of all, it's going to be Umbreon. Umbreon is one of the best mon for PvP, and the second one is going to be Sylveon. So Umbreon, just like Talonflo, I do believe it's still better to go with Foul Play and Last Resort, as we are going to discuss a bit later. It's still interesting to have access to Psychic as well. But I do believe that you don't one-shot a fighting type with Psychic, and it's going to be really only interesting with the poison types, which are rising in the meta, so that could be always interesting as well. Keeping that in mind. When it comes to the Great League for Umbreon, you will find just down here an infography of the different mons it picks up in the Great League meta. Best PvP IV will be 0, 15, 15. And frankly, my advice is try to look out for a very good PvP IV Umbreon, because that will allow you to flip those 3 matchups that are highlighted here with the green arrow, the Altaria, the Superior, and the Meganium. Because if the opponent is having a very good high stat product of those men, and you are not running a very good PvP IV Umbreon, they can flip the matchup. So that's really my advice here. Take advantage of this event to find a very good PvP IV Umbreon for the Great League. The rest, let's say that Umbreon usually beats the Psychic types, beats the Ghost types, and beats those mons that it can outbulk, for example, a Barmasnow, Swampert, let's say a Skarmory, and the Dark types that don't have fighting type coverage. So for example, it's going to beat the Mandibuzz, it's going to beat the Shiftry, it's going to beat the Sableye. So that's basically his function. A tank, you just throw it in there, you don't use shield, and you can flip some matchups. Better go with Psychic maybe. I mean, with Psychic you will be totally walled by let's say by dark types, as we were saying. For example, the Mandibuzz here, you have the cross on the Mandibuzz, but I mean it's a Mandibuzz, it's a Sableye, it's all those dark type mons, because then you are only having access to resisted fast move and charge move with power play and Psychic. So then you just lose against that. The advantage is that in exchange you can win against the poison type, such as Nidoqueen, such as Toxicroak, and Venusaur. Keep in mind that even if you don't have a Psychic Umbreon, I mean, just know your counts. I mean, if you build up to the Psychic, I'm pretty sure the Nidoqueen is going to shield, so keep that in mind. I mean, this is going to add some additional mind games when it comes to PvP, and that's going to be funny. So I know that a lot of people out there are saying that it might be maybe interesting to go with Psychic and Last Resort. I don't think so. I mean, for sure someone is going to make a video after the com day, but don't use your Elite TM for that. Frankly, the numbers are not good, because sometimes you just don't have a neutral move to throw. You don't have a stab move neither, and you are going to lose against some mons such as Sableye, because he resists basically the Last Resort and the Psychic, but as well against like some bulky mons. You are going to lose because you don't spam them enough. So don't think it's a good idea. Keep your Elite TM for another month. When it comes to the Ultra League, really frankly, their Umbreon looks promising and looks amazing. I mean, you can really use it at the best. Because you bring it up to the level 51, and I really do think that it's important to have it best buddy. As you can see, you pick up 3 additional matchups here. It's not that you pick up 3 additional matchups, but you are sure with the best buddy boost to pick up the Charizard, the Skarmory, and the Melmetal, even if they are running like super good PvP IVs. So here, really, my advice would be to try to best buddy Umbreon as well, if you want to use that at least in the Ultra League. So as for the rest, it's almost the same. You beat the Psychic types, you beat the Ghost types, you beat those mons that you can outbulk basically. Should you run Psychic, it's a bit the same. You are going to take a win, to grab a win against the Nidoqueen and against the Toxicroak. The difference between the Great League is that in the Ultra League, even with foul play Last Resort, you pick up the Venusaur matchup, because we have seen, if you have faced an Umbreon in the Ultra League, you know that thing is so tanky. I mean, it can tank 4 hydro cannons from Swampert, so it's just like a pure tank. So you have seen that, and once again, just don't run a psychic last resort, because that's bad. That's really bad. So just keep that in mind and don't do it. That's it. Next up, it's going to be Sylveon. I think it's less relevant than Umbreon, and that you should really focus on Umbreon. But Sylveon could be a cheaper version of someone, especially when it comes to the Ultra League and to the Master League. If you don't have access, for example, to a level 50 Togekiss, then you could use a level 50 Sylveon. Same in the Ultra League, if you don't have access, for example, to a fully XL Clefable, or to a very good PvP IV Togekiss, then using a Sylveon could make sense. Or if you just find that Sylveon is a much more beautiful Pokemon, you could use it as well. I mean, a Charmer, it's a Charmer. In the end, it's just a tap charm. So I mean, you could use the one you want. So when it comes to the Great League, best PvP IV, it's going to be a 0, 15, 12, level 18.5. And here I have like 3 matchups I would like to discuss with you guys, and with you girls as well. First of all, it's like the Clefable. So basically that's the PvP IV dependent matchup, but there are no rules. I mean, if you have maybe more attack weighting, the one you could win, but at the same time, if you are having a bulky one, you can pick up the matchup as well. So here, really no answer, and I mean it's purely based on IVs, and it could even be a simultaneous KO. When it comes to the Frostlass here, I mean, the Frostlass, your opponent Frostlass IVs are going to be key, because if your opponent is running a very good PvP IV Frostlass, it can reach a second charge move before you charm it down and then KO you. When it comes to the Whiscash, then it's important that you are running a very good PvP IV Sylveon, so that you survive the charge move and you can just charm it down with very minimal HP. For Ultra League, because that's where I think that Sylveon has more potential. As you can see, nice set of wins against dragons, because it's a league where you will find a lot of dragons, a lot of psychic type, a lot of fighters or pseudo fighters, and there really Sylveon can shine. But I mean, just like in the Great League, I think in the Great League a Wigglytuff is a better choice. I think that in Neutral League, Clefable or Togekiss are a better choice if you want to go with a Charmer. Keep in mind that having access to Psyshock is very nice for a Charmer, because you have play against, I mean, you have play against a poison type, and you will at least force a shield, which is quite nice, because as of now, most of the time, basically, you can just poison jab down the Charmer, and have a ton of energy for the next month. So here for IV dependent matchups, 2 Charmers, Clefable and Togekiss. Togekiss is purely IV dependent matchup. When it comes to Clefable, it's going to be based on how fully XL your opponent as is Clefable. If it's a fully XL, it will flip the matchup. And when it comes to Crustle and Shadow Snorlax here, if your opponent is running a very good PvP IV of those months, then he will flip the matchup. When it comes to the Master League, here I'm going to go that quickly. Still, I think Togekiss is a better option, but if you don't have the resource to build a level 50 Togekiss, then Sylveon could be a great alternative. I mean, Candy is going to be easier, and it's going less. The paywall is less important when it comes to Sylveon, and here the only matchup I would like to highlight is going to be the Lugia, where if you wanna pick up the matchup, you will need to have a best buddy, Sylveon. So now I'm going to give back the floor to Talonflo so that he can a bit analyze the importance of the evolutions when it comes to Silph and to restricted metas. So Talonflo, the floor is yours.
Now let's discuss Silph. I will only talk about Vaporeon and Umbreon. All the other evolutions don't have a noteworthy Silph career, and I want to avoid their embarrassment. So you may ask, why Vaporeon? In the vast majority of formats, Vaporeon was completely useless. But in the Ferocious Cup it was quite decent. The power level of the meta was very low, and Vaporeon only had to compete with Suicune and Bibarel for the water type role. In the end, Vaporeon saw some solid usage in both versions of this format. Umbreon was on the ban list many times, but when it gets the chance, it delivers. Umbreon was useful almost every single time when it was allowed. Now let's talk about the Ferocious Cup for a minute. You may notice the 5 Galving rating here, and if you follow my channel, you know this is extremely rare. In fact, this is the first time ever I give a Pokemon a 5 Galving rating. As I mentioned in the Vaporeon part, the power level of the Ferocious Cup was very low, so adding a powerful Pokemon like Umbreon to the table is a mistake. Umbreon won almost every single matchup in the format except for Charmas and some soft counters like Suicune and, I kid you not, Donphan. So Umbreon completely dominated the meta. It was so mandatory. I literally gave someone a Shundo just to get one with Last Resort. If you've ever wondered how a 5 Galving Pokemon looks like, this is it. Now to some official results. 4 players won their Season 1 regionals with an Umbreon in their team. The names of these players are 1 Prab, Kanan 619, Mozatron 93 and Sharkey 628. By the way, this was before Snarl was buffed. In the Season 1 World Championships, the Nut 93 and Riki 1990 reached the top 8 in the European World Championships. In the North American World Championships, Ranger Mimikyu and Dead Boy Muck reached top 8 with Umbreon, but the biggest honor goes to Shmusev, who won the North American World Championships with Umbreon. And again, this was before Snarl was buffed. In the prelims of the Season 2 Continental Championships, Umbreon was banned. And by the way, Silph deleted the article about the rule set, so the only way for me to find out was very tedious. I had to browse through the commit history of PvPoke to find that out. In the final rounds, which were draft tournaments, Umbreon was removed by the players in 2 of the Continental Championships. In Europe, Umbreon was never considered for some reason, but in North America, Chris Malakari used Umbreon, but he dropped out after the second round. Last but not least, the Season 3 Continental Championships. The format was point-based. You have 20 points to build your team, and Umbreon costs 10 points to include it. Therefore, many players chose cheaper options as their dark types, most of the times Alolan Primer or Vullaby. I should mention that Port Lee EO used an Umbreon to reach the top 8 in the Asian Pacific preliminaries, but in the final rounds he swapped Umbreon with the more standard Alolan Primer. Also, Jemu 1991 barely missed the top 8 in South America. It was a good run. Unfortunately, the other Eevee evolutions are not worth talking about, so that's it from me. The research took a lot of effort, especially with Silph deleting public information, so I'd appreciate if you would hit the like button, subscribe and hit the bell. I leave the rest up to Sergio. Bye!
So students, it's time to conclude, and here are my 4 recommendations when it comes to this community day. First of all, prepare yourself before the community day. I mean, we have quite some time here, so just if you already have like some good PvP IVs, walk them. I mean, if you have a good Espeon or Umbreon, walk it, so that you don't have to walk it during the com day. If you have something that could be a great Sylveon, do the arts. I know it's only going to be 7 arts, but if you do it before, I mean, you can really focus on grinding, on catching throughout the com day, instead of thinking, yeah, I need to do my arts and I need to do that and I need to do so. So really, just prepare yourself before the com day. Same with the Pokeballs, the Ultra Balls, and the Great Balls. Something that you could do as well. Second advice: farm XL candies, especially for this Umbreon, because Eevee usually they are common, but not when we have some events. Depending on where you live, maybe you don't see that many Eevees. So farm the candies, farm the XL candies. It's always going to be of great value in the future. Then if we are talking about PvP, really focus on Umbreon. Umbreon should be your top priority to find this. You should just find almost a perfect PvP IV for the Great League, and close to the Undo for the Ultra. On a lesser extent, I mean, you could as well focus on Sylveon, but top priority should be on Umbreon. And last but not least, for more advanced hardcore players, I will say that you should evolve one for each league. I mean, the Vaporeon, the Jolteon, the Flareon. So even if, as Talonflo mentioned, they are outclassed by other mons, we never know if we will not maybe have like a Eevee Cup or restricting metas. Restricting meta in Silph, for example, when one of them could shine. So just prepare yourself into this possibility. So I really do hope you like that content. Don't forget to subscribe, to like the video, and to comment. And I'm looking forward to see you soon, students. Bye.